Hi, I'm Mike, civil engineer by trade and a long-term patron and customer of Phileas Foggs. And when I heard about the landlord reneging on the agreement that they had with Brian and TA, I felt compelled to do something and say something about it. As a long-term patron at Phileas Foggs, I feel like I'm speaking for the entire community that comes here and supports this business. Family, friends, lifelong friends that I've met here. We're pretty much disgusted with the behavior of the landlord. I feel like reneging on the agreement is being driven strictly by greed. So when COVID happened, many businesses were impacted, particularly the restaurants. And at that time, I was very concerned about Brian and TA. Big drop off in business. Many businesses went out of business at that time. And I actually asked them, like, how are you going to make this work? And he told me that he had negotiated a good faith agreement with the landlord. And it was very reassuring for me that he felt comfortable with that in place. In fact, I heard Brian praising the landlord many times that they had an agreement in place. So it's really hard for me to see how sour this has turned, and seeing him being harassed and bullied over these fraudulent claims. It's discouraging to hear that the landlord's reneging on the good faith agreement that he had with Brian and TA, and now is bringing forward fraudulent claims. It's clear to me how much he's struggled with this, all during a time when he's trying to rebuild his business in the aftermath of COVID. It has completely consumed him. I know him, and I know he's been extremely diligent trying to negotiate a settlement with the landlord, and more recently with their legal team, that, to be honest, seems to be employed purely to intimidate him. What's even more unbelievable to me is that he's offered to pay these fraudulent rent arrears, but requested it to be amortized over a 10-year lease. The landlord said no to this, and to me that's evidence that their goal is just to put Phileas Foggs out of business. After 2 years now, it's clear he can no longer fight this battle alone, and he needs some help, especially on the legal side. I've known Brian for many years, and I consider him a friend, and I know him as a person of character. He's always willing to help people that are in need in the community, but more importantly, he's a person of his word. He's honest, and I have no doubt in my mind, if he said he had a good faith agreement with the landlord, that's exactly what happened. Because in reality, how could he have stayed in business during COVID? Before COVID, when things were going well, business was doing well, Brian and TA have been so giving back to the community wherever they can, and that's one reason why so many people are passionate about this place. He's even loaned money to staff that they use for down payments for reliable vehicles. He's co-signed on leases for others. Especially around the holidays, there's always people, for one reason or another, that find themselves alone. But Brian and TA have sacrificed their holidays on numerous occasions to offer to cook Thanksgiving dinner, to host Christmas gatherings, so these people didn't have to spend the holiday alone. There's Toys for Tots. I mean, there's so many fundraisers they've done at this pub. There was the Boston Marathon Massacre. They raised funds for that. And the list goes on and on. I'll give you another example of how Brian and TA help out the community. There's a patron here, Richard. He's probably a little over 70 years old. He's a character in the bar, and they've created a place where he feels welcome. He might be challenged to have a steady job, but at the end of the day, he's part of our community here at Phileas Foggs, and Brian and TA have helped him tremendously. They let him collect recyclable materials. They help him apply for Social Security. Now Richard's receiving a check every month, which he previously didn't get. After 30 years, they even helped him open his first checking account. They've just helped him out in so many ways they can. Look, I think it's obvious from this video that I'm not a professional spokesperson. I'm not being compensated for doing this in any way. But what I am is extremely concerned about this gross injustice. I'm passionate about Phileas Foggs, my community, and everything that happens in it. Above all, I'm so appreciative for what Brian and his TA has done for this community for the last 16 years. I hope through this video I've empowered you to step forward and do what you can to help Brian and TA. There's nothing like Phileas Fogg in our community, and if we don't help out, if we don't fight to keep it, we'll lose it, and that would be such a big loss to us all. Please consider making a donation to help with these ensuing legal costs. You can make donations through Venmo or Zelle. You can donate with cash or credit cards personally at the pub. You can even donate with cryptocurrency using Ethereum or Bitcoin. Links to all will be included in the description below. Nothing has been set up just yet, but I'm going to talk to Brian and TA. And I'm sure they'll be very open for the idea for rewards for donations. Think of this as like an informal GoFundMe. There may be an opportunity to reward those who donate through a special dinner. Or another cool idea that I've heard about is customers that donate may get a plaque on a chair or even a table. I understand we're living through some difficult times right now, and not everyone is in a position to help out financially. But there are still many other ways you can help. If you're going out to eat, consider eating at Phileas Fogg. The food is awesome and you can't beat the prices. If you're using a delivery service like Uber Eats, Grubhub, or DoorDash, Phileas Foggs offers them all. Why not use them? If you offer a service or are a supplier to Phileas Foggs, do what you can to help them out right now. If you're a lawyer in this field and you feel you can help Brian and TA during this challenging time, come forward. It would be great advertising for your firm. If you're a tenant of this property management or this landlord and you've had a similar injustice done to you, please step forward. If you work in local media, whether it be radio, TV, newspaper, run a story on this. Everyone loves to root for the little guy. At the very least, and more importantly, please share this video on your social media platforms. Be proactive. Do anything you can to spread the word. So anyone that has enjoyed Phileas Foggs over the years can get involved and help to save our pub. And finally, please make sure you like this video. Let's show this landlord in numbers that Phileas Fogg is no longer in this fight alone, and that this entire community stands behind them. So you've heard how I feel, but let's hear from some of the other community members. There's a link in the description below to a separate video that is full of passionate community testimonial videos. Now you're about to hear from Sean and Constance. They're a couple that have been together for a long term. They've also been customers here at the pub for quite some time. You're welcome to introduce yourself, and I would also like to ask you how you feel about what the landlord's doing to Phileas Fogg right now.
So I'm Sean, this is Constance. We've been coming to Foggs for well over 15 years at this point. And I think the biggest takeaway from what's going on right now is that lawyers generally litigate against broken agreements. And it appears at this point that instead an agreement is being broken by lawyers, which is very frustrating. We have a tremendous amount of memories over the last 15 or so years. And it's very troubling to hear that this is something that is taking place right now.
One of my first memories about Phileas Fogg being in the community is when the Boston Marathon occurred and Phileas Fogg stepped up and did a huge fundraiser. Also, we've made lifelong friends here.
Two of our best friends are Brian and Tuye.
Yes.
We were introduced to this bar by another friend who said, you have to go there and just check out the people because they're so great. And we used to live nearby. Now we live a little further.
And we still come here.
It's our cheers. We walk in on Fridays and there's at least a dozen people that come in. Hey, great to see you guys. So
yeah,
it's been
these are friends that we've shared weddings with. We've done events with, Christmases, Thanksgivings, like this community, New Year's. Phileas Fogg is a huge part of this community.
And I think one of the biggest things about Brian and Tuye, and one of the more disappointing things about what's going on right now, is during COVID, despite what their opinions were about what was going on, they followed every single rule. There were times we had to stand outside because there was too many people inside getting food. They followed every rule to a T. and they continue to follow the rule. We love this place very, very much.
We love Foggs, yay!